Hi everyone, welcome back to the puzzle solving series where I share with you what's going through my mind as I see positions for the very first time and my attempts to solve them, how I reach the decisions I do. So first thing I'll do is load up a new position and then we'll get to work. So starting the timer now. Of course, this is a king and pawn endgame. Everything is going to be concrete, and the first things to notice are do we want to go for a race right away, or is it wise to stop this pawn from advancing with a4? I could see a4 being useful because I can imagine a situation where they get over to the a file with their pawn pushed, and we get, like, maybe we get their f pawn if they could get our e pawn. But this is all very messy. You can tell I'm not quite so sure about this, and so if I start thinking concretely, if we go ahead right away with king to f5, then maybe king g3, and if we take, then king to f3, and they are getting our e pawn then. So the next thought I have is trying to advance with e4 and saying that king f5 is going to come next, and then king takes f6, and then we might have e5 later to help keep our pawn defended. So by getting this pawn up one square, it'll allow it to run to shelter on e5 and still be defended by the king. So if we start with e4, then let's say they pass with a4, because I thought there could be a race situation with them getting all the way to the a file, but that is just going to be so slow for them. It's going to be, I think, mostly about whether we can hold on to this e pawn. And if we start with king f5, king g3, I don't think there is, because they could go e4, they can go king f3, and we're still they're still on our e pawn. We never have time to take the f6 pawn. So in that case, I want to consider starting with e4, and their options are pretty limited. They don't want to push f5. I don't think c6 does anything. They could try a4, but then king f5. If they go king g3, king takes f6, and king f4, then we're happy to just go e5. And if they go e4, yeah, no king move actually gets them any closer to our pawn. So I think e4 is the correct move. I am curious why a4 doesn't work, because maybe a4, king to h3. Yeah, I think king h3, and that way of e4, they're going to go king g2. King f5, king f3. So this is actually urgent right now, because they are going to try to wrap their king around to get to our e pawn. So I'm pretty sure it's e4 followed by trying to go after their f pawn. So I'm going to go ahead and play that. e4, yes, and king h3, now king f5. And king takes f6. Yeah. So that one, just trying to realize and understand the situation, that it was never about a race, it was just about keeping our e pawn safe. So if we mess around too much with a4, which I thought about that at the start, that maybe we want to stop their a pawn advancing and eventually try to run them out of moves. That was that kind of puzzle, trying to use a zugzwang, because zugzwang's a very common theme in king and pawn in games, and so that's what a lot of these Lichess puzzles had to do with. But no, the theme of this one is just keeping the pawn safe while you go after their f pawn, so that you can keep it on the board. And here, yeah, if we start with a4, then king h3, we're correct for the right reason on that. King h3 is indeed the reason why this fails. King f5, king g3, king takes f6, and king f3, and we're not actually winning the pawn. And if we go e4 here, then king f3, and this pawn's, we can't win the f pawn without dropping the e pawn. So yeah, this is a cool king and pawn in game. Thanks you for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.